Hi, welcome back to Serger Tip Clips. In the previous tip clip, I showed you a variety of decorative edges using specialty threads and how different they can look depending on the thread fiber and thickness and all of the different variations within that. But today I wanted to show you another specialty stitch. It's a really cool stitch called the wave stitch. It's available on select Baby Lock sergers. And even though it isn't available on all different sergers, I think it's well worth taking a look at. Here we are at the machine. If you look at the upper right front of the machine, you can see I've switched the lever from the overlock position to the wave position. I have black woolly nylon in my lower looper. I have white woolly nylon in the upper looper, but you'll want to consult the quick reference threading guide for the threading route on the upper looper. It's not the typical one that you always use, so do check the threading guide on that. And in my needle, I have white serger cone thread. So let's see how this looks. I'm all set up to do the wave stitch at my machine. And one little tip that I have, no matter what kind of a stitch you're doing, if you're using a heavier weight decorative thread, always hang on to your thread tail before you start stitching and hang on to it until your machine takes about 4 or 5 stitches in the fabric itself. But I'm going to show you the method I use when I'm trying to determine what my stitch length is going to be for a decorative edge and what kind of stitch coverage I want or any other little things that I want to check out. So I've got my thread tail in hand and I'm going to start stitching. And I have my stitch length now set on about 3.5. So let's see what that looks like. Just stitching along. Okay, I can see already that there's a lot of space between the stitches. I'm not getting good edge coverage. So what I'm going to do is mark 3.5 and just draw a line for where that setting was. And this is just my sample fabric. This is obviously not my finished garment fabric. But I'm going to mark it there. And now I'm going to turn this down to maybe about 3 and try a few more inches just to see what it looks like. A little bit better. It's still not exactly where I want to be. So I'm going to draw another line and mark 3.0 for my stitch length. Let's bring it down to maybe a hair above 2 and stitch a little bit more. Now we're getting into where I like it better, but we're not quite there. So let's just call this about 2.2, somewhere in there, I'll know. And I'm going to bring this down to just barely 2 and keep stitching, and let's see what it looks like now. This is exactly the way I wanted it to look. So I'll just finish stitching off this edge. I'm going to mark 2.0, and I know this is the setting that I want, and I can even put a circle on it. And I can save this in my sample binder as well. Now you can see from the beginning, if that's the look that you want and you don't want full coverage on your edge, that's fine. Nothing wrong with it at all. But I did want full coverage on mine. So this is the look that I prefer right down here. And that's with a scant 2.0 stitch length. So that's the very cool wave stitch. It's a great edge finish for garments, home decor, bags, tons of different uses. And it's really fun to use, and just one more thing in your bag of tricks for the serger. Thanks for joining me. See you again soon.